Let's talk about the southwestern tip of India, and specifically Kerala's incredible 590-kilometer coastline. Now, this is so much more than just sand and sea. It's this dynamic, really densely populated, and absolutely vital region where the lives of people and the health of the environment are just completely woven together. And to really get our heads around this delicate balance, we've got to start with the people themselves.
I mean, just listen to this idea from a government report. Ecosystem people. It's such a powerful way to put it. It perfectly captures this reality where life and livelihood and culture, they aren't just happening near the coast. No, they're completely inseparable from it. Their entire fate is tied to the health of this coastal zone.
I want you to imagine living on a knife's edge, because that is the reality for so many of Kerala's fishing communities. They live on this incredibly narrow strip of land, this fragile little barrier, caught between the massive Arabian Sea on one side and this whole network of backwaters on the other. Now, this unique geography has shaped life here for centuries, but you know what? It's also the source of the region's biggest vulnerability.
So here's our plan for today. First, we're going to look at the people who call this coast home. Then we'll explore its amazing ecosystems. After that, we'll get into the intense pressures that are squeezing it from all sides, break down the plan to try and manage it all, and finally, see how Kerala's story is really a picture of a much bigger global challenge.
Okay, first up, let's really focus on these communities, the ones whose very identity is tied to the rhythm of the tides.
And the scale of this dependence is just immense. We're talking about roughly 8 lakh, that's 800,000 people who rely directly on marine fisheries for their livelihood. They're spread across 222 fishing villages. For hundreds of thousands of families, this isn't just a job, right? It's the entire fabric of their existence.
And just think about this phrase from the report again, an umbilical cord relationship. What a powerful image, huh? It's not just about depending on something, it's about a life-sustaining bond. Everything, their homes, their traditions, their culture, it's all nourished by and woven right into this coastal ecosystem.
So what is it exactly that makes this coastline so precious? Let's dive in and explore the unique ecosystems that are the foundation for this whole way of life.
Okay, one of the most fascinating examples is this thing called the Pokali and Kaipad wetland system. It's an absolutely ingenious form of climate-resilient farming. Here's how it works. For part of the year, farmers grow these special kinds of salt-tolerant rice. Then, after the harvest, the natural tidal flows bring in brackish water, which naturally stocks the fields with shrimp and fish. And what's amazing is that no chemical fertilizers or pesticides are needed at all. The system is entirely self-sustaining. The tides literally do all the work.
And this system even has its own built-in natural defenses. See, mangroves are often planted along the earthen ridges of the fields. Their dense roots bind the soil together, creating a kind of living seawall that prevents erosion and flooding. It's this brilliant fusion of food production and coastal protection, all in one.
And the ecological wonders don't just stop at the wetlands. These sandy beaches are also critical nesting grounds for sea turtles. But here's the thing. According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, their survival is incredibly precarious. I mean, their status ranges from vulnerable all the way to critically endangered. The fact that these ancient reptiles still come here to nest tells us that this isn't just a locally important coast, it's a globally significant biodiversity hotspot.
But this delicate balance between people and nature is under a massive threat. Let's take a look at the pressures that are squeezing this coastline from literally every direction. So the coast is getting squeezed from two sides. Pushing from the land, you've got all this intense human activity, rapid urbanization, huge port development projects, and industrial activity, all competing for the same limited space. And then, pushing from the sea, you have the growing forces of climate change, severe erosion, rising sea levels, and saltwater poisoning freshwater sources. It's a double whammy. And you can see right here where the pressure is most intense. These red zones show that urbanization in Kerala isn't just spread out evenly. No, it's concentrated right along the coast. And this puts all that development on a direct collision course with the fishing communities, the fragile wetlands, and the turtle nesting sites that make this region so special. This is the central conflict, right here in plain sight. So, given this intense squeeze, how in the world do you manage a future for this coast? Let's dive into the plan that's designed to try and strike this crucial balance.
Well, the main tool for this job is something called the Coastal Zone Management Plan, or the CZMP. This is the official framework that's designed to regulate all the activities in the coastal zone. Its goal, really, is to navigate all these complex trade-offs between protecting the environment, securing the livelihoods of coastal communities, and at the same time allowing for some sustainable economic development. It's a tough job.
So how does the plan actually work? It's basically a four-part strategy. First, it starts by protecting the livelihoods of those ecosystem people. From there, it moves to conserve the critical habitats they depend on. Then, it tries to guide any new development to make sure it's sustainable. And finally, it pushes for natural adaptation strategies. Things like planting more mangroves instead of just building giant seawalls to build resilience against a changing climate.
All right, let's zoom out for a moment, because what's happening in Kerala, well, it isn't an isolated story. It really reflects a critical challenge that's facing coastlines all over the world. When you really boil it all down, the goal is actually simple, but at the same time, it's profound: to protect both the people and the place that sustains them. It's this deep recognition that you can't save the ecosystem by ignoring the community, and you can't save the community by sacrificing the ecosystem. They are, and they always have been, one and the same. And so this leaves us with a pretty critical question. As coastal communities all over the globe grapple with urbanization, development pressures, and a rapidly changing climate, what can be learned from Kerala's attempt to navigate this incredibly delicate balancing act? The answer to that? Well, it might just hold lessons for a more sustainable future for all of us.